Now that we have established the basic grid lines and or the horizontal and vertical axis, we have our dominant image over here. And I think I kind of want to change this a little bit. This is why I always tell my yearbook staff, don't get married to a layout because sometimes you just never know if it's going to change. So I'm going to use the selection tool over here. When I click on this box, I want to open the frame itself. So I'm going to click and drag on this and open it up just a little bit more because I want to bring more attention to that butterfly. So I'm going to hold the space bar and click it and drag it. And I'm going to make that butterfly a little bit bigger, hanging on right over there. All right. So if I click the W, how does that look? Pretty good. You don't have the mane of the butter. It is kind of going over the gutter, but that's okay for what we're trying to do. So this is the biggest quadrant that was created by this horizontal and vertical axis. So this is where your dominant image always goes. So then on the left-hand side is where the next bigger quadrant is. So that's where your second bigger image should go. So let's go ahead and draw another text box. And we're going to draw it, remember, in the top of the row, and then the right side of the box is on the right side of the of that column. So I'm going to pull this one in over here, and let's make sure that it's aligned the way that we want it to. It does not have a stroke on it, so I want to point out again where your stroke is. Here's your stroke here, and you can also select it here, and you can also come over here and select it here. Here's your fill, here's your stroke. So there's 3 different places where you can put this in. There's less control over here that you have here without having to go into the stroke box, but there are different characteristics within the stroke box that you kind of need here too. So if I'm going to go up here, let's go up here and make it black. Don't ever use registration because that's not truly black. That's just an indicator for the printer. So always use black, don't use registration. So now you see this is jumping a little bit on the outside of that. So we're going to go to a 0.25 because I like it to be really fine. And we're going to make it go align the stroke to the inside of that line. Okay, so once I have that done, let's click W and see how that's looking. Control-Alt-0 to be able to see how the page layout is working. Okay, I'm going to go back to my W so I can see my grid. I like where this is lined up on this side, so I'm going to take this and slide it down to duplicate it. But every photo needs a caption and a photo credit. So for right now, let's go ahead and get our captions in there. And captions are always 3 columns wide. So we're going to leave that much space, but I'm going to take this box. If I hold down the Alt key, look what happens to my cursor. That means that it's ready to make a duplicate. And if I hold down my cursor or that Alt key and click and drag, I can make it, just makes a duplicate of it. But if you hold the Shift key down, you've already established that right-hand side. So let's just drag it down so we don't have to change it again. So I want to pull this guy. I've let go of any of my keys on my keyboard, and I've got the selection tool. So I'm going to bring this over to 3 columns. I think I want to make this a little bit shorter here. And then I'm going to do Alt again and Shift again and click and drag and make that the same size as it was. So now if I hit W, we've got a nice little layout coming about. So the next thing we're going to add is we're going to add our text box. So let's turn the grid back on. Control space and click and drag into that area. And I'm going to add a text box. To do so, you click on the text, on the T for text, or if you hover over the top of it, you see T is the tool, is the click key for it. So I'm going to click right over here, same thing, top left corner, top of a row, left of a column. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to drag this to the bottom of the column and the bottom of a row and the right of a column to be able to make that text box. You see it's blinking. So I'm going to right click in here. I'm going to leave it up to your teachers as to whether they're going to decide if you're actually going to write a caption or not. If you decide to take yearbook, I will teach you how to write proper caption. But for now, we're just going to fill it with placeholder text. So if you right click on it, this window opens, fill it with placeholder text. The problem is there's a couple of different problems coming in here. All of these little hyphens in here get to be obnoxious when you're trying to read it. It's flush left, which is away from the picture, and we would rather have the raggedy edges on the left-hand side and not have this filled white space in here. But it's also really big for a caption text. Most of the time your caption text is anywhere between 7 and 8 point type and pretty tight on the leading, which is the space between it. So I'm going to do Control A. And just so you know, Control A selects everything that's inside the text box if you have clicked inside of it. But if I click Escape and I'm outside of the text box now, if I do Control A, it selects everything that's on that page that's not locked. But so we're going to go back into this text box. I'm going to double click in the text box so I'm actually got one blinking cursor. Do Control A again. So we're going to change a few things to make a style. Remember we mentioned about the styles here earlier. So we're going to make a caption style. So I don't like Minion Pro because it's the default font for Adobe InDesign, Photoshop, Illustrator. And so I just want to know that students have actually done a little bit of exploring with type before they just settle for Minion. So let's find a different type of font that's going to work for us. That's totally up to you as to which one you choose. I just don't want to see Minion. So let's go down here and maybe we'll find all these numbers on here tell you how many extra fonts there are after. Let's go with this Candera. There's a Candera Light, which is great for a caption font. And let's change this to 6. They don't have 7, but I want 7. So I'm going to click over here, drag over it, click 7. The leading that I want is 8. And now it's pretty tight in there. One other thing that we want to come over here, you see the A when you're on the type tool. You see the A. This is everything related to the font themselves. All of these are, I want to indent it a little bit from the left. I want to indent the first line. Hover over these, you can see them. Indent, right indent from the edge of the text box. This is, of course, the bottom line to indent. This is space before and space after. This is kind of important for our captions. So I'm actually going to go in here and say 0 picas 4 points. This means, so when I come in and I hit enter, it's going to automatically put a little bit of space after our caption. So I'm going to leave that part on there. We don't want to indent it. We're going to come back though, and we're going to put a caption head on here in just a minute. So, but one other thing that we want to do is we want to flush this so it's towards the gutter. So if you hover over this, align towards the spine. So that's where the two pages come together is the gutter spine. So spine gutter. So we're going to click that one. So it's going to force it over here. So this thinks that it has some extra space, or that these are different paragraphs. So I'm actually going to come in here and I'm going to delete these guys and backspace 1. So those are established. So I'm going to pull out these different styles. So here's your character style. Here's your paragraph style. So I'm going to click on that one. I'm going to pull it out for the time being. And then I'm also going to pull out my character style. And I'm going to close that one for just a second. So I have established everything that I think I want for the caption font. So I'm going to go over here. I don't want a character style because that doesn't pertain to the entire paragraph. I'm going to add a new paragraph style. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to take on all of the characteristics of this paragraph. So I'm going to double click on this to title it caption text. And we'll say OK. And then I want to come over here and actually want to grab some of the colors out of this picture. So I've clicked out of this text box. So I'm going to capture some of these colors. And here's how you can add some of these custom colors. When you first come in here, we opened this up a little bit ago, and there is a ton of extra colors in here. And we really don't want to have to deal with all of those. We want to add our own specific colors. So I don't want to have anything selected. Be on my selection tool, and I'm going to click off of it. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to get rid of all of these extra colors. So I'm going to click on the first one. I don't know why they give me so many extra colors. I'm going to go down here. I'm going to click all the way down here. Hold the shift key down and click down here. And I'm going to click that garbage can. I want all of those to go away. I even want all of these folders to go away. And I'm going to click that X. Now, if you click this and a box comes up and it says that there's a color that's already in use, what are you going to do with it? That's up to you if you want to put another color in there. But right now we're going to go and we're going to collect. Let me click off of that again. We're going to use this. There's different eyedroppers that you can use. I don't never use this measure tool. Eyedropper tool, that, I'll show you how to use that in a little bit. But right now what we want is the color theme tool. So it's going to establish the color on this page out of our dominant image. So if I go and I click on this picture, it's going to find all the different potential picture colors out of that page. So with that, I'm going to go tell this text that I want it to be that color. See how it changes it to that color? But I'm going to add all of these different colors to my, all of those. Yes, we want the colorful ones. So we're going to add those to our color palette. And it created its own little name. So we can use any of those colors on our page now. So I really don't want my text or my caption text to be that color. I want it to be black. But we do want our headline for our caption to be a different color, and maybe we even want it to be bold. So let's go in and change what color that's going to be. So this is my paragraph style, is my caption text. So this, usually your caption head is 1 to maybe 3 words long, not usually very long at all. It is the only part of it that's capitalized is the very first letter. It's not like a regular headline where every main word is capitalized. It's just a little bitty one. So we're going to go ahead and make this bold. And then let's change it to this pink color. Okay, so this is a character within this whole paragraph. And so we're going to create a character style. And to do so, we're going to do the same as we did up here. See how this plus sign comes on here? It says, excuse me, lady, you have this caption text set on this one, and you have just changed it. So I know. So we're going to make it a character style. So we're going to double click on this, and we're going to call it caption head. Oops. And we're going to say OK. So now, if I take this whole body copy and I change this to, or I want to copy this. Remember, we put that space afterwards. So this is one caption. So I'm going to copy all of this, hit the right arrow, and it takes it all the way to the bottom of that. And then I'm going to hit enter and paste and enter again and paste. So now you see I have, turn off my W's, 3 captions with a little bitty separation between each one. And we're going to go from there.